Welcome back to Cornish Repair. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to have a look at this NVIDIA GTX 1660 Storm 6GB GDDR5. So I picked this up off Facebook Marketplace. It looks like it needs a bit of a clean under the fan, and the back looks, I think on a closer inspection in a minute, looks like there's a little bit of corrosion around the place, as if it's just been left out for quite a while somewhere. But yeah, I picked this up broken, for parts not working, for quite a cheap price actually on Facebook. Looking at this sticker, I mean, it doesn't mean anything, but this sticker here does seem to imply that this hasn't been taken apart. First we'll check whether or not we've got any shorts on any of the rails. Okay, so with the, I'm going to take a ground position. I'm going to look at the 12 volt rail, see if we get any shorts on those. So that's pins 2 and 3. So we've got no shorts on those. The 3.3, we're 2 in from this side. We've got no issue on that either. Now checking these pins here, we should have 3 grounds on the top. Ground here, and we've got ground there. These should be 12 volts. And we've got nothing. Good. We got no shorts on any of those. I'm going to take it apart. Going to check some of the rails underneath. I'm not too experienced with graphics cards, but let's have a look to see whether or not we have any shorts on the rails. And it does appear to be the first time this is being taken apart. So let's see if we can find any issues underneath. If not, we'll see if it turns on. I'm not too familiar with what and which is which, but I'm just going to mainly check for any shorts here. On any of these inductors. So I reckon this is okay actually. I'm going to put this back together because this is actually looking really clean under here. Let's see if we get any sort of reading at all. So that all back together. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually try that into this motherboard that I've got set up. I'm going to take this graphics card out and see if we get any picture at all. Maybe better to take maybe this shield off here. I would have actually got this in the board a little bit better. So let's see if we get anything here. We most probably are going to end up with a PCIe light up on the boot LEDs. DDR. Are we going to have any image? We got the PCIe light on and no signal detected on the screen. We've got nothing there at the moment. So it's just the PCIe light on. The fan on the graphics card has actually turned on. It is spinning, just see that there. So we have got power going in. Okay, let's turn that off and have maybe a little bit closer inspection. So at the beginning of the video, I did mention that the back of this does look actually quite badly damaged. I'm not sure if it will be visible on the screen here. See, there's a lot of dust, maybe slightly corroded. Looks like one of the inductor pins or a capacitor pin here. That seems to be knocked over as if it's been hit or damaged somehow. Let's go in with a microscope and maybe give this little area a bit of a clean up. See if we can see anything in particular. So there's that pin that's been knocked over. I assume that's a capacitor that's been bent over. So there's been some sort of impact around here. As you can see, the board is just very dirty. I don't really have I don't have any way of cleaning this easily. Pretty much just a toothbrush, a bit of IPA is all I can use. Just looks just dirty, really, just very dirty. So yeah, this implies that maybe there's been some sort of impact. Maybe we can have a look around the board. Let's try giving this a clean. Okay, right. Let's dry that off. Let's see how that looks. Okay, now that's dry. Let's have a look at it under the microscope now. Let's see if it looks any better at all. To be honest, it still looks pretty bad. at all. Oh, hello. That is moving. So that's not on the board. So this resistor is no longer attached to the board properly. We can see on both sides it seems to be moving very slightly. I'm a bit concerned that we may be missing other components because I don't know what these are. I'm going to see if I can find any sort of board view for this at all or anything. It looks like we definitely need to reattach that resistor. So let's see if I can find anything. Okay, well, I couldn't seem to find a board view easily. But I did find a high resolution image on Tech Power Up of the back of the graphics card. It's exactly the same card. So let's see whether or not we can see whether or not all the components are still in the right place and if there are any missing. Otherwise, I will have to go continue digging for maybe a board view or something to see whether or not there's something missing. So let's see what we can see here. So it's this resistor here that's half knocked off the board. As you can see, the Tech Power Up, they've obviously got it brand new and is looking fantastic. So yeah, this resistor here, that's our damaged one. Let's see if we can see anything else that maybe is missing. Okay, so I've had a good look around. I can't see any other problems apart from this one resistor. Now that definitely is not attached to the board. Oh, there we go. It's actually come away. It does appear to be part of the resistor is left on the board. The top looks so. Oh no, there we go. You can. Oh yes. I don't think that is in one piece anymore. Yeah, there we go. This resistor is definitely broken. So let's see if I can find any board view at all for this graphics card. I couldn't find a specific board view for this. However, because it's a 1066 GTX motherboard graphics card, I assumed that maybe the back of the GPU would be very similar across all of the manufacturers. Seems to be correct, as there does seem to be 2 capacitors on this top corner here, 3 below here, and then one, what appears to be a resistor, LB501, and it says 30 ohm on this board view. So yeah, where this resistor was, a 30 ohm resistor, I'm going to replace that with a clean, a brand new one. I'll clean up this area and let's see whether or not that would work. Okay, we're no longer got a bridge. Doesn't look very pretty. So that's now stuck to the board. Yes, it is a bit smaller than should be necessary, but it is a 30 ohm resistor. So hopefully, with that now on, we can put this all back together. Nothing now. The board is not even wanting to turn on. No reaction from the board at all with that plugged in. Well, okay, I messed up. And I'm sure most of you watched me mess up. And it's something I've not really come across and shows my inexperience with working with these components. Let's have a look. So when I was looking at the board view, I guess this took this chip that was faulty and damaged on the board, completely messed up. I read this, I saw that it said 30 ohm, just assumed it was a resistor. Because yeah, once I replaced it, as you saw, it didn't then boot up, it didn't turn on, nothing happened. But this is in fact I had a search around and I've never come across this before, but now I've learnt something, is actually a ferrite bead. But as far as I'm aware, is looking around on the internet really, and people asking similar questions, it could also be known as an inductor bead. It effectively sort of cleans the signal. So this is going deep into stuff that I don't really know, but as far as I'm aware, it's sort of meant to filter any sort of signal going through the board and sort of clean it up a little bit. So I put a resistor in place instead of this ferrite bead. I've now got a ferrite bead. I actually stopped the recording and went out and got a ferrite bead once I realized this, and I've got one now. But yeah, I've messed up. What I'm hoping for is that I haven't damaged and completely ruined this board by putting a resistor on, and maybe putting a ferrite bead on in place will maybe do the job and hopefully get it back to what it was doing. But we'll see. We'll find out later on. So let's bring the microscope in. I can show what we've got here now. This is my mistake. This is where we went wrong. I went wrong. Why am I saying we? This is where I went wrong. And I installed that resistor there, the one that looks like a little bit of a mess, a bit too small for the pad as well. So I installed this resistor. This is a 30 ohm resistor, and actually I needed a ferrite bead that had a 30 ohm designation on the frequency that it's looking at really. So what we're going to put in place is this one, which is a little larger than what we had, and I think it's actually larger than what was there before. But this is a 30 ohm ferrite bead. The annoying thing is I'm going to have to take everything apart on this board again, and then we will install this in its place and see whether or not that fixes it. Fingers crossed it does. Let's give it a go. That's on the board now. I'm just going to give it a bit of a clean up. So now that's changed. Let's see if we can hook this up. Well, I'll just give it a go as it is, see whether or not we get a picture, and then I'll just turn it off again if need be. A temporary prop up of the motherboard. See whether we get anything this time. Fingers crossed. No reaction again. I mean, that shouldn't be the problem, but we can plug this in and see whether or not that does it. No, nothing from that. Interesting, we're actually not getting anything from this board now. Now, I think it's actually my power supply unit. Well, it's actually the cable to my power supply unit that was not connecting properly. So I've just replaced it, and we'll give this one a go now. Here we go. Turn the power supply on and hit the power button. There we go, turning on. Graphics card's getting hot. We are on the PCIe light, but I've turned it off because that was actually getting hot. And it's not showing it on the screen, which was a bit annoying. That would be because I didn't put the HDMI cable in, so that could be why the PCIe light was on. Let's try that again. Here we go. Try again. I may just hold up heatsink on here just for the time being. Let's see, we got DDR light up here. PCI light, and we're going into boot. And we have visuals. So hopefully that's fixed it. I'm going to take this apart, put the graphics card back together again, and then we'll come back and we'll see if we can test this properly. Let me know, is that the perfect amount? It does look a lot better than it did. It's looking a lot cleaner, and hopefully it's actually working properly. So let's give it a go. Let's give it a test. Yeah, let's see how this actually works in here. Going on. Oh, Oh, again, he makes the same mistake by not plugging the HDMI cable in. How do I keep doing this? Oh, wow. How do I keep doing this? Can you see that on the screen? Connect the power supply to the PCI Express. God. Right. We'll get this right in a second. Okay, so let's stop messing around here. I'm actually finally getting it all ready. I've got the power connected to the GPU. So that should be on the screen. There we go. We can see it on the screen. Okay, so it's been up and running for a little while. I'm just going to do Fermark. This is actually Fermark version 2. First time I've actually used this version of it. And yeah, let's see what happens. It's looking cool at the moment. It's all running, seems to be running perfectly fine. This is looking good. Not having any issues at the moment. The temperature is going up steadily at the moment. While this continues to run, what I've learned is to look at board view a little bit closer to maybe understand a few more components, because replacing that with a resistor, I was having difficulty turning it back on, which I think could have actually been the power supply, but I think all it would have done is not given any sort of, like it did at the beginning, having no output through the HDMI. I've got a bit more to test here actually, because I haven't tried the DisplayPort or the DVI here, but I'm going to give those a bit of a test. But this is running, it's running smooth, and yeah, back to sort of learning about what is and what isn't on a board, such as a GPU board. I've never come across ferrite beads before. It's the first time I've now come across them, and now I have. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that. Thanks again for watching. Hope you have a good rest of your day wherever you are, and catch you in the next video. Cheers.